taking a break right now from DZBT04, even though I still have a lot of decks to cover from this set. I realized I forgot to cover Blond Ezel. Wait, is that Platina Ezel? Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm DZBT04 here. Today I am back to cover Incandescent Lion, Blond Ezel in DivineZ. Again, because, you know, by the time this video is uploaded, hopefully my DivineZ Ezel video would have hit 1,000 views, which means it's qualified for me to do an update. If not, I just generally don't bother because it means there's no demand. But clearly, if there is, I would have seen it. Today, I'm covering the one support card that came out for Ezel in DZBT03 Dimensional Superjump, which is Platina main. During DZBT03, I just had zero motivation to test this thing. I was like, bro, this is a terrible ban list, and I just didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to. But now I've reached a point where after testing this deck furthermore, and then I was going to use this deck in a collaboration as well as, you know, showcasing it on a few various other means. But then after that, I just decided, you know what, I'll just do it myself. I'll just make this deck profile, because for some strange reason, not only is nobody talking about this deck, nobody knows how to play this deck. Like, I don't get it. Every time I Google like an Ezel deck profile, most of them are really bad. So you know what, fine, I decided I'm going to do it myself, and I'm going to no holds barred. I'm going to let myself play one Keter generic this time, and I've chosen it to be the best among the best. So if you can't afford her, I'm sorry, you don't really need it, because by the time Platina Ezel actually comes out with stuff like Backdamagus and Kaidin, and, you know, the actual Gold Paladins, I really doubt you will be playing default once again. But, you know, just for a little bit more, we will have to play these cards, so you will have to keep them for just a little bit longer before, you know, you can eventually just swap to a pure Gold Paladin. But that's all. I just really wanted to get away from the premise. Now we'll just actually get into the deck profile. Mainly though, this deck hasn't really changed, but what I do like is that currently the version of Ezel I'm playing is meant to build more around just pure bot swarming no matter what, just to swarm, and to try and rush down people like Equilibra to the point that they just never see an optimal turn 3. Your idea is just to keep swarming and pushing as fast as possible, which, you know, it's just typical Ezel, it's just typical Gold Paladin. Of course, as you already know, Ezel has one doomed flaw, which is that it instantly loses to strike deck sets. So, you know, I'm releasing this video right before the Night Rose and Harry strike deck set for a reason. It's really for a reason. So that, you know, you know that after the strike deck has come out, I won't be able to talk about Ezel till probably Platina Ezel. And the reason why Ezel loses to strike deck sets, I'll talk about it later in the video, probably by the time I reach my grade 3 segment. But yeah, you can just stay tuned for that. So without further ado, let's get into the right deck. So the right deck, as you already know, is all our good old Gold Paladin boils. Nothing really surprising here. Again, links in the description below for my previous Ezel deck profile, as well as for my DivineZ Explain video where I talk about the energy. This time though, you will actually need to know when this triggers, because it does matter for Ezel, especially given his new support, which is Platina main Stallion, which is why I made the joke about Platina Ezel. It's a very simple pun, guys. So yeah, I will get into him in the grade 1 segment, but at least for the crest, let me just remind all of you that you can activate it when you're grade 1 right upon your grade 0, you get it, and then when you get it, if your opponent's Vanguard is already grade 1, a la, you know, he's already ruled out before you, then you get 3 energy, and then every turn you gain 3 energy. It's at the start of the turn, so that means that it's not linked to how many times you actually ride your Vanguard per turn. It doesn't matter, you still only get 3 energy per the turn it progresses. So I know that's maybe a point of confusion, but I would figure that I should just tell you all that. That also means though that even if you go first, you know, you generally only get to use your EB7 draw on turn 4. Again, you might want to watch the video link in the description to understand the full chart of what I mean by the energy curve, but that's generally the gist of it. And now with Platina main Stallion, the idea is that we're just going to, Platina main Stallion, we're just going to crack that curve a little bit. We are just going to keep using the 3 energy we get per turn to translate into 1 extra card on the board for Platina main, and generally speaking, we won't really tap into the draw as often. So as you can see, we are going in every possible direction to just go as fast as possible. We're even denying ourselves our format draw just to throw more bodies on the board to beat the opponent to death. I cannot stress how important that is, because that is the only way Ezel survives in this format. And again, I'll explain the main reasons why in the grade 3 segment. So your grade 0 needs to be Griff. Your grade 1 obviously should be Gareth. Gareth, when ruled upon by Bowman, you search your deck for Reign Supreme, King of Beasts, and add it to your hand. Very simple stuff. You don't need a rearguard skill, he's a horrible rearguard. I'm sorry, Gareth. The grade 2 is Bowman. Bowman, if you have Griff and Gareth in a soul, you can discard a card from your hand, choose an Incandescent Lion Blond Ezel from your right deck, and write it as stand. And then it gets drive -1 for the rest of the turn. And then his rearguard skill is that when he attacks, if you go Paladin if you have Ezel Vanguard, he gains 5, and then if you do, he board decks himself. So basically, more Felty Rosa nonsense. Bowman, although I used to really defend him to Kingdom Come, I feel that he's been power cracked, sadly. So you won't be seeing him this list, but I would mention his grade 2 skill because there are still people out there who want to play Bowman. I don't disrespect that. I think that's still a pretty valid choice, but you should know that, in my opinion right now, it's just not good enough. I mean, Equilibra gets literal 96k columns. What the hell is a 15k attacker going to do to him? Really, think about it. And then, of course, we have the King, Incandescent Lion, Blond Ezel. I just want to say something personal. All of these here, these FRs, these are all WGP entries from last year. So it's very clear what I've been doing for the past year. And also, my FFR Ezel, huge shout out to my friend in Tokyo Card Labo. Thank you so much for sending this card to me. I know it's not easy to ship it over the prefectures. Thank you so much. I'm really glad. I've been looking for this FFR for over a year, and I'm just glad I got it at a fair price. So thank you so much. I know you don't even play Vanguard, that's the best part, but if you're watching this video, thank you. Incandescent Lion Blond Ezel. You can only write units with Ezel on top of his unit, so surprise, you can only Persona write, or if you get Platina Ezel, you can use that. And then its first skill is that at the start of the right phase, that means when he's already in Vanguard, if you have 3 or less units on the board, which means 2 rearguards, you soul blast 1, look at the top 3 cards to your deck, call up the one from among them, and put the rest at the bottom. So basically, if your board is small, you can regenerate it with 1 soul blast for a top 3. It's not bad of a skill, but I would not prioritize the soul here, because this is like your last resort. His main killer skill, which is really slow and you'll find out why, is when this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater opponent, counter blast 1, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 cards from among them, and call them to open rearguard circles, and then if you do, they gain 10,000 power. This unit gains 10,000 power. So, for CB1 plus 10, it's pretty good because, it threatens a lot of numbers that traditionally most decks don't get as freely. It's not like a quick start deck. But the downside is Ezel can only call to open from your rearguards and he's relying on the top 7. You know how badly a top 7 can go in this format right now. So, really, the only problem I have with Ezel is that it's very luck reliant. It's a lot safer than Felty Rosa, don't get me wrong. Felty Rosa is infinitely worse than Blond Ezel. But it sucks that I do all this hard work in the early game, and in the late game, I just flip over 1 over trigger and 1 crit, and I go, oh, that's all I can call, huh? It sucks, it really does. And again, this is one of the reasons why I strongly feel that Platina Ezel would be very effective, but let's talk about it right now, actually. For our grade 3s, we play 4 copies of Blond Ezel with 1 in the right deck. I think that was pretty obvious because this is currently a Persona right based deck, but I hope very soon, the next time I do this video, I won't be saying that anymore. We have 2 Reign Supreme King of Beasts and then 1 Vigalis Piece the Cup. The Cup is obviously just your 5th Persona. Because there's really no other saving mechanic of Ezel right now, so that's why we're playing this Vigalis Piece. I would imagine by the time we get Platina Ezel, we won't even need this, but there's a chance we still do. But for now, Reign Supreme King of Beasts is the card that Gareth helped us search out turn 1. And it's actually a pretty good order. I used to really hate this card, but now I have grown a lot of respect for it, especially because I can play into all the synergies. Play this card if you Vanguard Ezel. You just look at top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 3 or lower from among them, call it to rearguard circle, and that unit gains 5, shuffle the deck. It's a net 0, it's not impressive, but it is a free order, and a free order will give us access to this. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. I've been up and about on playing 2 to 3 to 4 to 3 to 2. Very frankly right now, I'd rather just play 2 because I really want to kill my opponent as fast as possible. So I'm trying to just high roll and play the most aggressive game possible on earth. But it's not consistent. So if you want consistency, I would say play this at 3. But if you are willing to just go a bit high rolly to just try and punch your opponent to death, I think 2 is enough. 1 is a bit too scary because if you whiff the effect of Gareth, you just lose the game in terms of card advantage. So I would just recommend 2 at a minimum. And then last but not least, we obviously play 4 copies of Blond Ezel. I mean, this is quite expected. Although very soon in the near future, when Platina comes out, I fully expect us to no longer be playing Blond Ezel. I would just go straight into Platina. I wouldn't even question it. And the thing is, because Blond Ezel is a superior right base deck, right? So I wouldn't really need to rely on those mechanics that the cross right decks have. You know, when I cheese Blond Ezel to the soul to get a Platina effect. I don't see that happening. And one of the main reasons, again, why I strongly believe Platina would help Blond Ezel a lot is because if you go first or second, I mean, if you just play the game, right, you start the turn on Blond Ezel, you persona, right, but more rather than not, he's either a grade 2 Vanguard or a grade 1 Vanguard in terms of the opponent, correct? So you get a free 10k bonus to the front row. You can call all your really cool ass front row rear guards. At the end of the day though, you are only locked to dealing 3 damage maximum, even with the large plus 10. And most of the time, people will just no-card these attacks. And then after that, when your hand is relatively low, because you -1 drive, and the right line for Ezel doesn't give you a plus, in case you didn't know that by now, yeah, you will just lose the game outright, because the opponent can just punch you back even harder. Worse is for the strike deck sets, as I mentioned, because they want you to superior, right? They want you to make the jump so that they can catch you and just strike into, all their Jester Dragons and their Magen Tenbus and just rip you apart to shreds and you just lose. So, in my opinion, that's the real problem Ezel right now. It's like, we are speeding up, we are playing such a fast and dangerous game, but we just don't have a payoff for any of it, which sucks. Who cares about a persona right faster than an opponent? He's still gonna take the damage and then Equilibra and then deal you another 4 damage and then you lose. So, yeah, that's really about all I have to say. That's the main reason why I'm making this video, just so I get everyone on the same page, especially for those who do play Ezel. I hope you agree with me, or at least I hope you guys get where I'm coming from, because I feel this is a huge problem for Ezel decks right now. Is that if you play against normal decks, you have to resort to Insane High Road. If you fight against Strand deck sets, you instantly lose. And then to make matters worse, your persona right doesn't matter anymore. So it's like, come on, it's like, it just sucks. Again, all of these complaints, I'm pretty sure Platina Ezel can solve, but we just have to wait for him to come. Moving on to our grade 2s. Our grade 2s, we obviously have a Bowman in the right deck. Yeah, this one's pretty obvious because I mentioned it. No copies of Bowman in the main deck because we're not using him anymore. We play 4 Exaltus. This is the Blond Ezel promo. He got reprinted in Festival Booster, which is why some of my foils actually have double printing. But it doesn't matter. You always just play 4 Exaltus because he's really good. For default is just, generic nonsense.com, and it really helps you because it's not only a 20k beater. When you play an order in the same turn, you just Soul Blast 1, look at the top 5 and call 1. It's basically just, an extra board builder. And then you have Mr. Sacrosanct Dragon. Sacrosanct Dragon is a card I strongly still stand by, but I don't know if he'll be relevant next time, but as long as I can keep talking about this card, I will, because he saved me so many tournaments in a row. When placed from a card effect, you Soul Blast 1, this unit gains... When placed on the card effect, by a card effect, this unit gains 5000 power. Then, if you're placed from the deck, you Soul Blast 1, draw 1, and gains boost. So it cracks every requirement that Ezel needs in the card. It gives you a 15k attacker, or 15k booster. And you don't have to worry if you call a grade 2, because it now gains boost. So it can even be a booster, and let your other grade 2s like Default take center stage. And not only that, it gives you a draw. So it's basically 2012 Din Drain, because Din Drain was on place from effect, so was on draw 1, and that's literally what this guy does. Insane, absolutely insane. Sacrosanct Dragon is still very slept on, so I would still recommend you pick him up if you're an Ezel player. Of course, Bowman's Bowman, so I've covered him. Default, you already know. I'm not gonna talk about her anymore because the last time I did a Keter video about generics, wow, all of you went to shit. I got so much flack for that video. I had so many people just saying, oh yeah, Keter Power's not imaginative. I'm like, it's not my fault they printed this entire order call. Like, come on, but yeah, whatever. And then I saw that video about generic cards and whatnot. And then I have friends telling me, oh guys, there are generics in set 4. And I open set 4 and there are no generics. I'm like, I don't know, man. What is your problem? Seriously, like, is lying all you do? You know who you are. And then of course we have Exaltus. Exaltus is someone who won't lie to you when it comes to how flexible the Ezel grade 3 game plan can actually be. When this unit attacks, if you have Vanguard of Ezel on its name, you can choose one of 2 effects to activate. One, you give your Vanguard the skill that Count on the Vanguard circle, all your front rear guards gain 5, and then at the end of battle, it just board decks itself. 2. At the end of battle, using attacks, choose one of your Gold Paladins in the back row and bounce it back to your hand. Now, I think when this card first came out, most of us were completely confused as to what to do. I know the +5 seems like the most intuitive option because it's the most aggressive option, but it is a -1. But it does ensure your future attacks, especially when Ezel uses its CB1 skill, it gives your 5 attacks an extra punch. The second skill though, which is just returning a card back to hand, I mean it's alright, you can reuse Silver Fang Witch, but what was that really for? Now you'll see. Our grade ones right now, we play 4 copies of Platina main, 4 copies of DivineZ, 4 copies of Silver Fang Witch, 4 PG, and then 1 copy of Gareth. As you can see, I'm really happy to report that we are playing a full roster of Gold Paladins. That's right. It is a full roster of Gold Paladins. Everyone in these cards here is Gold Paladin. Okay, except for the PGs, of course. Don't have to talk about them. Silver Fang, which you already know, when placed on Rearguard Circle, your Vanguard's Ezel, CB1, draw 1, and it gains 5. Busted card. Oh, sorry, it's not even Ezel locked. It's Gold Paladin locked. Okay, so you know what to do then. If your Vanguard's a greater Gold Paladin, CB1, draw 1, +5. If you're waiting for Girl Gate Strike next set, you may want this, but I still love her, she's really fun. I'm glad they made Silver Fang Witch such a powerhouse. Love the girl. And the art's really nice too. DivineZ, I've already talked about DivineZ from the past, now is DivineZ now. DivineZ now, not very good, but you know what, it is a key enabler in Ezel's game plan, so I have to talk about it. When placed on a Rearguard Circle, if your Vanguard only has one nation, if your Vanguard only has one clan, you Soul Blast 2 and countercharge 1. So that means you can use this in Luan. Yeah, that's the joke, please laugh. The second skill is that at the end of battle, you need boost. If your Vanguard's Ezel in his name, you can choose one Rearguard in the same column as this and board deck it, then you stand this unit. So basically, it allows you to clear your front Rearguard circles to allow Ezel to use his CB1 skill to call 2. It's a very basic interaction. If you've played Ezel, you already know what's the point of DivineZ, but yeah. The countercharge 1 skill is sadly not very applicable because the Soul Blast 2 cost is way too steep, but it's nice to have that option just in case. I do wish they gave her a draw, but they didn't, so alright then. And last but not least, our newest card is Platina Main Stallion. And the main reason why you are here. Platina Main Stallion has a continuous effect that as long as your Vanguard is Gold Paladin, this unit counts itself as Gold Paladin. I think when I first saw this card on COTD, I was insanely happy that they are printing modern people joining old clans. I cannot stress how happy that made me feel. Especially in the lore, Gold Paladins are really underrated, in the sense that they don't really get much representation. So the fact that there's still things out there, or in this case animals, that want to join the Gold Paladins, historically, I mean, that's really sweet. And I grew up with these guys, so it's really nice. The main skill they're here for is when placed on a Rearguard Circle, if your Vanguard is a greater Gold Paladin, so it's not locked to Ezel, you can Energy Blast 3, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card with a different name from among them, as this unit, call it the Rearguard Circle. If you do, at the end of the turn, you take Platina Main Stallion and put itself to the bottom of the deck. So, unlike most of the Ezel cards that put themselves back to the deck, or like DivineZ, the boosted unit back to the deck, Platina Main moves itself at the end of the turn because it's just clearing a spot so that you can also use Ezel's SB1 more effectively. Although some very keen-eyed people will notice that is a net 0 because you paid 3 energy for 1 resource and then it goes back to the deck. So essentially you spend 3 energy to do nothing. Yeah, that's what you would have thought if you had forgotten Exaltus. Exaltus, at the end of the battle that his unit attacks, chooses a Gold Paladin in the back row and puts it back to your hand. This is a Gold Paladin by nature, so that means you can actually use this effect, call something, maybe even Exaltus enter the battle step, adds it back to hand, and now you can rebuild your board again the next turn. It's really cool when you realize that, but is this enough to save Ezel? No. But it's still a pretty good interaction to be kept up to date with, especially if you intend to play this deck when Platina Ezel comes out. So again, this whole video, I have just been laying out all the groundwork for you to catch up with Gold Paladin in this set, so that when Platina Ezel comes out, I won't have to talk about a lot of these talking points anymore. You would have already seen them, and I would be able to focus on the new cards. And last but not least, our Great Zeros. Our Great Zeros who play Kriff. Yeah, he's still gonna be here. He's gonna be here for 1,000 years, baby. He's gonna be here for another 100 episodes, another 10 seasons. He's still gonna be here. And then we play 3 effect draw because we need to stay alive. I think that was pretty obvious. We play 8 crits, and then we play 4 heals. And then our OT, I chose Valnot. Realistically, I'm still testing this. I think you have an option to play stuff like the Bright Sky OT or even Night Sky OT. But I still really like Valnot because the actual attack can sometimes just completely eclipse an end games. So yeah, that's really about it. And that will wrap it up for my Incandescent Lion, Blond Ezel deck profile. Honestly though, I'm really glad. I'm really glad that I even got the chance to talk about this deck because it's still pretty fun, it's still pretty good. But again, the question is this enough for Ezel to stay relevant? No, I do think we still need Platina, but we'll wait for that one day. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.